Hey there, Australia. I'm Miko Santos, coming to you with the freshest headlines on this Saturday, April the 5th. You're tuning in today's rundown, where we're breaking down the stories that actually matter to your daily life. We're diving into a major cybersecurity situation affecting your super funds, significant political moves on the port of Darwin, and those Trump tariffs that have everyone talking. Ready for the rundown? Let's jump right in. Australian super funds are under siege from what appeared to be coordinated attack, with Australian super members losing a combined $500,000. The nation's largest super fund has reportedly faced 600 attempted breaches in just the past month. Many of you are experiencing login issue or seeing those heart-stopping $0 balances. The issue isn't isolated just one fund. Rest Host Plus, Insignia, and Australian Retirement has have all been impacted. Australian Super has assured members that despite this display of issues, your money is still secure. A cybersecurity expert explained what's really happening in this interview at the ABC.
A lot. And that might sound like I'm pouring a lot of oil on water. I understand why Australians are concerned, especially when you look at the headlines. So by my understanding, as of while I talk to you, so I just want to say if the situation changes, clearly my messaging might, is that a fraudster or fraudsters are looking to basically break into accounts, not hack them, using usernames and passwords that have been stolen in other data breaches available on the dark web. They are then trying to use those usernames and passwords to break into the superannuation accounts across a range of superannuation brands, and that it's been a consistent series of incidents over several days, if not a week, and that the criminals have been a little bit successful. Some funds have been stolen. But for the vast bulk of Australians, I just want to reassure them that on the information I have, and I have some pretty good information that hasn't been very successful, but it's a wake-up call.
Prime Minister Albanese addressed the situation early yesterday.
I have been informed about that. We will respond in time. We're considering what has occurred, but bear in mind the context here. There is an attack, a cyber attack in Australia about every 6 minutes. This is a regular issue. We have beefed up funding for the Australian Signals Directorate. We have worked, and I've sat personally in a roundtable with all of the big banks, with the big financial institutions, with superannuation funds and others, convened with our security ministers along with our communications minister, Michelle Rowland. We'll have a considered response to it, but the agencies, of course, work very strongly on it.
Meanwhile, both major parties are now committed to bringing the Port of Darwin back into Australian ownership. Opposition leader Peter Dutton made this announcement today.
Pleased to announce today that an elected coalition government will move immediately to secure the Darwin port and to make sure that we can bring that national asset, that strategic asset, back into Australian ownership or into a model where we have greater assurance about the operator and the way in which the lease operates. There's been a lot of debate over this issue for a long period of time, and it's clear that a mistake was made many years ago in relation to the lease and the way in which that was undertaken by the then Territory government. But that is the past, and we need to deal with the strategic circumstances that we face at the moment. The intelligence briefings that I've had over the course of my time as Leader of the Opposition indicate that the position has only deteriorated, and we've now seen, of course, the circumnavigating of our country by Chinese naval ships. So we need to make sure that we recognise the times in which we live and why it's important for us to take back this particular asset.
Dutton emphasized the strategic importance of the port.
There are about 100 warships a year, Australian and allied warships, who go through this area, and we need to make sure that with our partners we're able to work constructively and in an environment which is conducive to our national security interests.
The acting chief minister of the Northern Territory welcomed the announcement.
Good morning, Gerard Maley, the Acting Chief Minister of the Northern Territory. I want to thank the federal government for coming here today to make this announcement. This announcement is going to give certainty to the Northern Territory. The political climate across the world has changed recently, and we really welcome the announcement, acting in the best interest of Territorians as we move forward. We know the port has been lots of discussion, and this announcement will finally give us some certainty of what we're going to do with that asset as we move forward into the coming years. So again, thank you for the federal government, and only the coalition government is going to do this in a way that's going to benefit Territorians, because we want to make sure that whatever the outcome is, that we act in the best interest of Territorians and, of course, Australia. So thank you.
The port was leased to Chinese company Landbridge in 2015 and has become a focal point of national security concern. Prime Minister Albanese has also pledged to address the issue, though the opposition claims the government has been too slow to act. Prime Minister Albanese went to the ABC radio in Darwin.
We've been working on this issue for some time and trying to as well maximise the benefit for the Australian taxpayer. And that is why we've been working it through in a constructive way, making sure that we're in the strongest possible position and that we protect the Australian taxpayers' interests. What the coalition have now done is pretending that it had nothing to do with them at all, and essentially following the statement that I made yesterday.
Breaking news just in. China has announced a sweeping 34% tariff on all US goods, dramatically escalating the trade war initiated by President Trump's recent tariff announcement. This retaliatory move sends shockwave through global market as the two economic superpowers engage in the most significant trade conflict we've seen in years. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has highlighted his government 14.6 billion education funding package while campaigning in Western Sydney.
We went to a lot of effort to make sure that the last state, Queensland, under Premier David Crisafulli, signed up on the Monday before we called the election. It seems like a long time ago, but it was last week, Monday of last week, because we wanted to make sure that every student, no matter where they lived, in any state and territory, whether they go to a public school or a private school, got better and fairer funding.
He also announced support for small businesses.
Making sure as well that we back small business by extending the instant asset write-off for 12 months, making a difference so they can invest in the tools or the computers or the equipment in the local cafe or the local hot food takeaway.
The government also highlighted its economic management.
We've got inflation down to 2.4%, whilst unemployment's still low at 4.1%, whilst we've provided cost of living relief in a way that has continued to get that inflation down.
President Trump's recent tariff calculation are raising eyebrow globally. That seemingly arbitrary nature of this calculation has analysts questioning the methodology. In one of the oddest cases, Norfolk Island faces a 29% tariff despite its tiny economic footprint on US trade. Locals are describing the situation as puzzling for their poor old penguin. Just one example of unexpected consequences rippling through global trade. For deeper analysis on how these stories affect your wallet, lifestyle, and future, head over to redmencarry.com and subscribe to our newsletter. We're digging into what's happening beneath the headlines, so you're always step ahead. Support our independent journalism by following us on all podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Your support means more investigative reporting, more unfiltered truth, and more voices that matter. I'm Miko Santos for Menkari Today's Rundown. Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll catch you in our next update as these breaking stories continue to afloat.